Sunday morning, day off again. Hope you're having a beautiful June morning like we are here. Birds are singing, the sun is out. Today, we're gonna be putting the wood flooring down in the camper. And we're planning, hoping, we can try Wednesday to get the camper down to the homestead and get it staked down there and get on foundation down there. Some block foundation. We have a funeral to go to Tuesday. One of Polly's family members passed away. We're gonna go down there and honor him. Knew him my whole life. Some of my earliest memories of him, I can still remember like they were yesterday. So a few things going on around here. As we accumulate the things necessary for a homestead, we've been on the lookout for a chainsaw. And Polly picked this one up. She went yard selling and she bought a ton of stuff. This here is just a little bit of it. She bought some gang boxes, electrical gang boxes, stuff we're gonna need for hooking up our solar stuff. And she picked all this stuff up for some conduit ends and pieces, stuff that comes in handy, stuff that we like to buy and have around. She bought some wire. There's some underground 10-2 with ground. I think that's 14-2. That's the kind of stuff we're gonna need once we get down there and get the building. But she bought this chainsaw. I put some gas in the carburetor. They said it run. I can't get it to pick up fuel, so probably it's either the pickup or the feed hose to the carburetor, maybe even the carburetor. But it's a Makita. Now, I ain't never had a Makita chainsaw. I don't know what they're like. This one here seems to be a pretty good size one, and it does run. So this happened. There they are. Got talking with the landlord about getting some pigs, and he went and picked some up yesterday. I'm not sure what they are. We gave $50 a piece for them. They're little bitty old fellers. I think they're kind of mixed up. I think they might have some pot belly in them, to be honest with you. Now, for those of you out there who don't want to hear this, I've eaten pot-bellied pig. People think of them as pets, but they're a pig, and they do eat. I've made sausage out of them. These are some mixed up pigs here. Not sure exactly what they are, but we got them now, and we're gonna raise them up, and we're gonna see how they taste. If that offends anybody out there, I'm sorry, but pig's a pig, in my opinion. They eat all the same. They actually got out. George made this pen out of pallets, and he didn't anticipate how little they were, and they ended up way down there at the old yellow cattle guard under there sleeping. So they got them caught back, got them back in the pen. And if you look out here, you notice anything missing? That's right, we sold the truck. Just kind of got tired of working with it. Put it on Facebook Marketplace. Some boys come the very next day and bought it. And the day before, or 2 days before, we sold the little flatbed. That's right, Facebook Marketplace. Here's another little deal Polly bought. She bought this. This is a heavy duty wheelbarrow. It may need some new handles. They're pretty dried out. Be rough on the hands. Picked it up for $5. Bought them 2 holes right there. This one here's fairly new. So slowly but surely we're accumulating things that we need for the homestead. It's just gonna take us a little while. We left Tennessee, we sold everything. And after we got here, we sold a bunch of stuff. So there's some old glue and rug particles still left on the floor. You have to put an underlayment down. Right now, I'm just taking a chisel and I'm just scraping the floor, getting the glue and rug particles out. Gonna put the underlayment down, and then we will start with the hardwood floor process. There's a lot of things you want to keep in mind when you're laying hardwood or tile or any kind of flooring is you want to keep it clean and you need it smooth. There is floor patch out there that you can put over areas. The flooring that we're putting in is what's called a floating floor. It's not as pertinent that it all be smooth. Like I said, it's got an underlayment, which is a styrofoam based cushion, if you will. It's not very thick. We picked this up at local box store, the cheaper of the two. They call that Traffic Master, I think. If you're laying tile, if you're laying linoleum, you really want a smooth surface. But with this type of floor, it's called floating floor. It doesn't have to be as smooth. This is pretty flat and it's a small area, so it's not as big a deal. This is going to be a high traffic area, and this laminate is supposed to be pretty durable. So this is our only traffic area coming in and out of this camper. So we want to make sure that we do as good a job as we can getting it level, getting it cleaned up. So we're going to vacuum out this lip. We took this out. It had some carpet under it, as you can see right there. And we're going to vacuum it out, get all that out of there. We want all the dust and stuff out of there that we can. So you can leave it long on the edges, and you can just come along, staple it a few places. You don't have to use many because the flooring's going to hold it down. I just do this so I can cut it, and you can take your razor knife and just run along the edge. All of our underlayments down, all the way to the front. Did it in 3 little sections. And there's a little bit of waste, not bad. Now, they do make this underlayment in a thicker material. And if you have a really uneven floor or some warps in your floor, you might want to take and go with the thicker. So we went with this one. It was cheaper, number one. Number two, this floor is pretty flat. There's not any warps in it, and it's a small area. If you got a big area with warps, it goes up and down a little bit, might want to go with thicker stuff. This stuff is self-supporting, but you need that cushion if you got a lot of warps. So you might want to go with the thicker stuff. And I have seen people do 2 layers of this, and I could very well do 2 layers in here of this underlayment. I don't think it's necessary, so I'm not going to do it. That's just a little old tip there. Some people say I overstapled. Well, I didn't staple down the middle. I only stapled on the edges, as you can see, transition areas. But I don't have the patience to be moving around this stuff and it moving under me and fighting with it. So I just staple it down. Helps my sanity a little better. Now what I have is just an old skill saw. And if I had a chop saw, it'd be a lot nicer. But if you don't have a chop saw and you've never used a circular saw a whole lot, you can actually use your square. See if I can get this in get the concept in, doing this one-handed. You can actually use your square as your guide. So you can hold your square against your board and you can cut a straight line with a skill saw, particularly when you're just cutting a 6-inch board. So I got my square here, my saw right up against it. So there's the first piece. My threshold's going to go over it. I was a little bit worried about maybe cutting those out right there on each side, but there's not enough there to worry about. I might throw a small piece of trim in over here, but we're going to put quarter round all the way down. So that quarter round is going to take care of most of that crack. So I'm not even going to worry about it. Put my threshold back in. Put in some new longer screws. You can see how it just swoops down and flattens out. I really pulled them in tight so we wouldn't be catching our sock feet on them. And that's the first piece. Just it popped it up a little bit, which is okay. We pulled it down, and we're going to put our next piece on there. It's going to lay down, and I may put some screws periodically. My wife bought these screws at a yard sale in a bunch of boxes of stuff, and they're pretty nice. This is how we save money. We try not to go to stores, particularly when we're not in the heat of it. We look for stuff when we don't need it, if that makes any sense. When we might need it. So she ran across, she goes, oh, that's a good deal. She bought the whole box for like 10 bucks. Had a bunch of gang boxes, a bunch of electrical things in it, a couple of tools. This is how we save money. We buy this stuff at yard sales for pennies on the dollar, and when we need it, we have it. So upon closer examination of this, I've got a really short piece. It comes out, and our line is actually going to be right across here. And I'm thinking quarter round is probably going to cover that gap. So it actually worked out to my favor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this short piece here, put in another piece, and I think that it's going to look okay. But I think a quarter round is going to fit over that gap. So keep that in mind. You don't have to be, like I've got a gap here, and I've even got some where the saw kind of hurt it, and I pushed it down in there, kind of splintered it. The quarter round's 3/4 of an inch, so it's going to cover that. My saw is not that great, the blade is, but it's the only one I've got right now. So move your saw slow through the wood. Try not to jam it, which is what I did. I jammed it. But I'm going to cut this next piece, and then we will see how the transition works. Here's the transition as it goes back. Sorry about the light. I threw a couple pieces in like that one. I really wouldn't have. Could probably take that out and move it back this way, but it kind of looks out of place. But getting down to the end of it, I went 1, 2, 3, then I went 1, 2, 3, 4, put a split. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a split. The next one's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, put a split. And then of course it'll finish on out. Okay guys, this is it. There's a couple of ubu spots. One is right here. I had a thermostat in my way and I couldn't get around it, a thermocouple. So I just cut an angle back on it, and I did the same thing over here because it was so short. There it is, all laid out and all done. So this morning we're having biscuits. And this is potato gravy with hamburger. You want to feed a lot of people for a little money. Make potato gravy. And I actually made the potatoes and hamburger last night. We eat that quite a bit. So this morning, Polly took the leftovers, made a gravy with it, and then she made some big old cat head biscuits here. These are big old bread biscuits. What I mean by bread biscuits, look at that. That is beautiful. They're crunchy on the outside, soft in the middle. Great for biscuit and gravy. So, that is our brunch this morning. I'm pretty tired. Did a lot today. I'm gonna try to finish up this one step. The mosquitoes are eating us up out here. We're all doing the mosquito dance. We want to thank y'all for stopping by. We're just about ready to take this down to the homestead and get it put on some block and get it staked down and get with it. So if y'all like what you see, please subscribe, hit the old thumbs up button, share us all around Facebook, Instagram, all that good jazz, and we'll see you down the road.